you some car news for the car market that is kind of sketchy at the moment. So it's not necessarily a crash, but this month has been down in sales for pretty much everybody. So if you're looking for deals, deals are definitely out there. They have 0% for 60 months. Some companies are giving like $7,000, $10,000 off. So it is something to look into. Diving in, overall sales for the first quarter saw a 4.8% increase over last year. So when we're saying that it's crashing, it's not a significant increase. And with the tariffs that have been implemented by May 2, I believe, May 3rd, for the parts, that's a 25% tariff. That is already in effect. So expect your services and parts for vehicles to go up. As for auto industry itself, Mercedes saw about a 17% decline in top end or top models, but a 14.6% increase on pretty much across the board. Overall, last month projections, though, this is really the interesting part. GMC saw a 20% increase, Ford saw a 16% increase, Toyota 10%, Hyundai 19%, Honda 18.1%, Volvo 13%. Audi even received a 12.4%, and BMW at 3.7%. Mercedes-Benz increased 1% last month. Nissan up 5.7%. Mazda 21%, and Stellantis, unfortunately, overall, they're about 12% down. Hey, Ethan, how are you today? So what I'm getting at is last month, because of the tariffs going into effect and then taking a pause, people were buying like crazy. This month, I've been to a few dealers already. I actually purchased 2 vehicles this month, and all of the dealers have said the same thing, that the sales have just went to a standstill. So, hey, Jeffrey, how are you? Good to see you here. So if you're considering to buy a vehicle in the next coming months, this is kind of the last month where you're going to see where the prices haven't become an increase. Now, if you're looking for deals, right now the best deals are Ram, Ford, Nissan, Infiniti, Jeep. They have huge deals, not just like money off, but even I think GMC is doing like a 0%. And you can check it out in your area depending on your credit, obviously. As for new vehicles that are coming out, the Chevrolet is going to have a Corvette SUV. So I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to go, because they're doing a performance variant in the SUV segment. So I think that's a good step forward for Chevy. Kia has the EV3, which is a smaller SUV. It's going to have 300 plus range. So I think that's pretty good if you're looking for an EV vehicle. Right now, we're not necessarily in the EV times in North America. Rivian's going to have an R2, which is a smaller, affordable SUV, whatever the heck that means, because Rivians are relatively expensive. So I'm assuming an affordable will be probably 50, 60 grand. Hey, Zach, how are you today? Where would I get the best price if I sell my Mazda Miata in Soul Red? It's automatic soft top with 220 miles. That, I would suggest that you kind of look around. Don't necessarily just go to one dealer. Don't go to CarMax or anything like that, because they're going to just give you trade value. I have been seeing a lot of uptick in Facebook Marketplace, so you could play with that first. That would be the highest recommendation that I would recommend there. Hey, how are you today? So go there first, price the vehicle a little bit higher, and then see how it goes before just dropping it into a dealership. Jeffries, I'm so mad my investment have lost 50K just in short time. So like I was saying on the previous live stream, if you have any investments, just kind of hold tight. If you're using it for retirement, I know it sucks, and I'm sorry, because you guys have lost the most, because you're actually losing it monthly, and you're probably taking those incomes out or your dividends out, so that way you can live on them. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do to offset that. But if you do have a lot of money in different 401ks and whatnot, and you have the ability to pull it out, you're already retired, and say you have like a little nest egg, maybe maybe add it into some real estate, so that way you can get some extra income, because real estate, the price of rent itself, it just continues to go up. But the house market itself has actually been going down. It just alone in my area, I've noticed that the house market has decreased probably about 12, 13% in the past month. Hey, Michael, how are you? Are the percentages you mentioned based on units sold or total sold sales, including parts? That's the total units. So for last month alone, it was a spike across the whole auto industry. More or less, everybody had an increase, even if it was as low as BMW's 3.7%. And a lot of that was driven by the tariffs. I like to say tariff scare because I feel it's a tactic in the sense of grabbing people's attention to push them into the auto market again, whether you're looking or not, doesn't really matter. And then they pull it back or scale it back because now the new talks are we're going to give a little bit of leeway because we can't add those tariffs, as if we did, the price would literally increase 10, 15, 20,000 on some models, in which you know how it is, Michael, because you're looking at some minis and BMWs, and that would just really throw some of those numbers. Oh, like I think the M2, they've already increased that 4% just because of the tariff where they put it on and then they took it off. And it's not really 100% taken off. They're just trying to scale it back. So for parts, 100% to 25% is already on. That started in May too. You're welcome, Zach. You're welcome, Michael. Daddy Anthony. Oh. Hey, James, how are you? Also, remember, guys, the stock market always goes up. You're right, not good to sell off such a, yeah, don't sell anything. Keep your stocks the way it is. If anything, this is the time that you actually want to invest, because I was actually talking to my financial advisor this week, and he told me that if I would have invested around the tariff time, I could have seen a 22% increase in just that little bit of time, in which they're now up. So the increase, I think he was saying, was like 7% now. So it has went down, what is that, 15%? It's already went back up within a few weeks from the tariffs going on and off. So that's why with these type of market things, it's tactics to get people that are not in the market to start kind of swaying money. And it also puts focus on different things. The objects that I always say to look at is your financial needs. So, everyone has their own economy per se. So if you're doing well, you're able to pay your bills for your house, you can live a nice life, you're able to pay for your groceries, your cars, insurance, and whatnot, then you're doing great and you have a great economy. Don't look at everybody else. You got to scale yourself first, and then you could scale maybe family members and maybe neighbors. If no one's getting a foreclosed next to you, the market's not as bad as some of the news reports. Like in 2020, the stocks in rebound. Yeah, I mean, back when, what was it, 2006, 2008 time, I believe, that was when we had kind of a huge correction, is more or less the wordage that they were saying. And at that time, houses that were 400,000 or 500,000 went down to like 100, well, I think it was 150, 200,000. So they literally dropped about 50, in some cases 60%, depending on if it was foreclosed or not. So when you're looking at it overall, some people will lose in these type of markets, but you can't continuously look at the market. Going back to some other auto news. So for the parts, this is actually something I wanted to touch bases on, is the 25% is going to go onto powertrain, engine, transmission, ignition, suspension, pretty much every single thing for the auto industry. What kind of beard trimmer is that? What kind of beard trim is that? I don't know. What kind of question is that, Mr. Blue? Also, Anthony, did you hear about the Black Monday crash in 1987? Yes. I mean, again, when you're looking at these things, Dow lost 20% in one day and it rebounded in a week. Yeah. So even President Trump stated, I believe this week, he was saying that, it's a good time to invest, and the people that listened to me made money. So where I'm getting at with that is just don't necessarily read into all the hype. If you are retired, obviously there's some hiccups, and it's not something that's easy. I hope you raced that guy in the MC20 that tried you in the M340 video you put up the other day. Yeah, so the MC20, before we go back into some of this news, We went today to check it out, so everything's done, the PPF, and they smoked out the whole tail light, so everything's blacked out in the rear. Looks awesome. I put some pictures up on Facebook. I will put some pictures up on the community tab as well. So also check out Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We do a lot of different short videos there. We also purchased a new 2025 QX60 Thursday, which we're getting it blacked out. We're putting 22-inch wheels, doing a lot of different things on that vehicle. So that's coming hopefully Thursday next week. And then Saturday next week, I should have the MC20. We're going to have a little party. So for the live stream, we may not have a live stream because the party's from 12 to 4. That's when they're dropping the vehicle off. We're doing like a little housewarming party, I guess you could say. But yeah, we'll definitely entertain it. One thing I was actually telling James, the vehicle has 38 miles on it. So when I got my second Maserati, it had like 32, 33 miles on it. And the reason why they have 30 miles, 60 miles, 90 miles is all of the vehicles have to be raced around the track to make sure that it's up for performance standards. And if it doesn't, then it goes to the next level. They take it back and it gets 60 miles or 90 miles. But usually you won't see any over 90 miles. And with that, my second vehicle, it actually took me, I would say 2-3 months before I put 100 miles on it. I literally was driving it like somebody walking a turtle because I didn't want it to roll over to the next number. Also, China is facing their populations. So with the India thing, America is actually shifting a lot of the Chinese work into India. That's the new big thing for North America, which I don't know. We're going to have a learning curve. I'm hoping everything will be fine and the prices will not go up dramatically, but I can definitely see prices going up nickels, dollars, and a little bit more depending on the product. Going back to some other auto news, obviously the Hyundai Palisade has a full refresh. It's all new, so we're hoping that that will be in the next few days to weeks that we'll get one. The one that I was actually looking at, the Ford Mustang Raptor. It's a concept, but they're trying to do a Mustang with an off-road capabilities of a Raptor. I mean, I don't know how that's going to go, but usually Ford does some really interesting things, and it seems to work, like their what was it, employee discount that they did last month. That itself increased them, what did I put on my notes, 16% in 1 month. So that is pretty crazy. Toyota's bringing back the CHR. I don't know if you guys remember that. I have a few reviews on it. It's a pretty cool little SUV. It's kind of has like a lot of aerodynamic looks, and I'm kind of glad that they came back, or they're coming back out with that vehicle. The beard looks good. Thank you, Jeffrey. What are Ford engineers smoking? Raptor, Mustang before GTA. Yeah, I mean, it could be cool. Like when I went to review the Ford Ranger Raptor, unfortunately it's sold before we got to it, but we will be bringing one of those to the channel this week. We're going to Volvo and Ford. That vehicle is like more than enough that you don't even have to step up into an F-150 Raptor. That's how I feel like the auto industry sometimes gives you this sweet spot vehicle, kind of like the M340i for a BMW, and they neglect to remember they have like an M3 or they have the F-150 Raptor. And then it's like, well, if I'm only losing this much capabilities, but I'm gaining this much and I'm saving this much, that's what I mean by sweet spot. It's just kind of insane the way they do things. Another one, we touched bases with it briefly last week, but the best priced vehicle right now is that Slate truck / SUV. It's a electric vehicle that gets about 150-mile range, and you can customize the vehicle. It starts around the $20,000 price point. I do recommend, if you haven't seen it, I'm hoping we can find or source one so we could throw it on the channel as well. That it's just awesome that we're getting the capabilities of something that is that inexpensive. Inventory also has dropped about 10% across the board. So that is another thing to note, because Infiniti is not bringing in the QX50 and QX55. They're discontinuing it. So with that being said, they're not going to, the ones that's at port at Mexico, they're just actually sending back. That's what I got word from Infiniti this week. And Infiniti sedan is in the works, but unfortunately Nissan Infiniti is really kind of like, they keep things so hush-hush until it literally comes out. even you could see it through like Car Scoop and all those auto trends and whatnot. They have the same problem of getting the information because they just don't let anything out. Oh, congratulations, Ethan, with the new Nissan Armada. Great vehicle. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at with sweet spot vehicles. You get that, and it's literally an Infiniti QX80. So, I mean, you get a huge deal, and it's an awesome vehicle, especially if you get like the Pro 4X. Awesome. Hey, how are you? And then there was some other. Nissan with the Sentra, that's going to be redone as well. So a lot of updates to the vehicles. Infiniti, we're thinking it's going to be called the Q70, but we don't know. We don't know anything about range, pricing, anything like that. Right now, it's still kind of a concept, but it would be awesome that they bring something back like that. BMW's X7 for 2026 is going to have a few updates, pretty much really for the infotainment. It's not going to have the gesture. You guys have saw on the channel, I released the GV80 coupe and non-coupe. I did a comparison, I guess, a couple days ago. What would happen if you had a Toyota Supra? I guess I would drive the heck out of it. It's an awesome vehicle. Does Rivian going to make... I think so. They're also actually... They're now in UK, so they've opened up their... Oh, no, wait. That's... BYD is opened up into the UK market. Rivian, they're coming out with a smaller SUV, like I was saying at the beginning. I don't necessarily know. Hey, Tisha. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be something that is going to be inexpensive, because Rivian itself, like every vehicle they make is like 100 grand. And now with BYD going into the UK market, that's going to also make it a little... I'm hoping we start seeing it here, because BYD is just awesome. I mean, if you're looking for an electric vehicle, you can't source it here in North America, but I mean, range, charging time, pricing, the only vehicle that I would compete with it would be the Slate truck or SUV, because it's so damn inexpensive. And with these electric vehicles right now, the infrastructure isn't really going forward with it, so you can get a great deal. I'm going to have a podcast released about, different things, because you can go into any dealership right now and it's literally a buffet of different trims, especially like BMW. They have a lot of their electric variants out, and they're going to actually start scaling backwards. I like BMW. Yeah, BMW is great. Awesome vehicle, performance, luxury. They're going to start scaling back a little bit on the EVs. All the auto industry is doing that. Audi is now holding production as well, and they only have 2 months estimated across all of the dealerships. So it might be a little bit over 2 months. So expect, if you're looking for an Audi, the price to be more money, or they're going to add an addendum to the MSRP, because they're not sending anything into the US. Volkswagen hasn't really announced anything, but I'm sure it's going to be the same thing, as well as Porsche, Bentley, and Lamborghini. Tisha, they say people are not buying them. Well, according to my statistics that I got last month, Audi went up 12.4%. Now, I have seen, because I have 4 different Audi teams, some are actually a little bit more busier than others, but I blame some of it on product knowledge, or I blame it on Audi not really doing a lot of refresh. Like, one thing that screws us for 2025, the A5, the S5, the RS5, awesome vehicles, one of my favorite variants, but we're not getting the update. We're getting a 2025.5 variant, and now with them holding inventory from coming in, we may not see that until the end of the year, or maybe you'll see some kind of come through the grapevine. Same thing with the Q5. You can get a Q5 that's off the old body or a new one, which Audi and Volkswagen, they do this quite a bit. Not so much with Porsche. I've seen it with Maserati a few years back, where they rebadged vehicles, meaning instead of, it was just basically the same exact car for like 2-3 years, and they just increased the price for $7,000. So there's no justification of the increase in the price, and unfortunately, that's kind of what's going on with the market. 2026 also, we're going to have the Range Rover EV SUV. I don't know how excited I am about it, because I like the Escalade IQ. I have a review. It's already posted. Awesome vehicle. You get over 400-mile range. Now, we did have the vehicle for a few hours. Me and Issa actually did a quick review with it, and the interior of it is awesome. It has the open doors, so like you push the button on the touch screen and it'll open and close. I think they're doing a great job overall. Do you like Supra or BMW? I like the BMW because it's convertible. I like the Supra, but I'm more of a convertible guy. I like the savings that you get with the Supra. The BMW itself, it just, that open air concept, I like it. That's why we bought the MC20 Cello, because it's a convertible and it can be a coupe, so it's the best of both worlds. If I got a great deal on a Supra, I'd definitely pick one up because it's just a bargain deal. And BMW for 2026 is coming out. This is actually really exciting news. They're going to have their next M concept variant for 2026, something similar to like an i8. So if everything comes out to play, I'm imagining it's going to be more than the XM, or right about the same price, probably about 160 to 190. Because if you get the XM label, those can go up to about $190, near 200,000. But if you are looking at the XM, they're giving $25,000 discounts on those vehicles. Plus, I was looking through ChatGPT just for some different things, insight and whatnot for taxes. You could potentially write off about $56,000 if you're married, and you get a $7,500 tax credit. So if you add 56, 25, and 31, you're at a lot of freaking money. Minus that off of that, you're barely at $100,000 MSRP. So it is a steal. But then on the flip side to that, when you go to trade it or sell it, you also have to consider it's now not going to be a 25 to 35% drop in depreciation. You're going to lose all those incentives that you lost. So you probably could lose your rear end, because that's happening with a lot of the EQs and Mercedes. People are buying them at high prices, 160, 200,000, depending on the variant they're going, especially if you go Maybach. Now, going that route, you trade it with 5,000 miles, you literally lose $50,000 to $70,000. So just something that can be hard to swallow. Also, Anthony, me and Issa started texting last weekend. I'm Adam. Yes, I know. He told me about it. Where we were getting the two vehicles, it's been very hectic, and then we're also trying to clean up the house for the party next week. Supers were there in the 190s. In the 190s. So if I was looking at a Supra, I do like the older variants. I think they're awesome vehicles, but because I kind of like new vehicles too, in the sense of you don't have to worry about maintenance and whatnot. So it's a lot more easy, but the older variants of the Supra is going to hold their value a little bit better, especially if you get them full stock. The BMW 5 Series is also expected to have some updates for next year. We did have a full refresh in 2024, so I wouldn't expect anything radical. But I have noticed, because we do a lot of reviews with BMW, BMW is kind of going the same route, and I'm not saying it like in luxury or performance. I'm saying it by the ideology, meaning they're doing changes every year, and it's very similar to other automotive industries, kind of like Hyundai, Kia, Genesis. Literally every year they're doing some little change to make people want to buy a new vehicle. So in one sense it's good, but in another it's not. So as an example, the BMW M4 competition, I wanted to buy a convertible one, and we were wanting to get the the exterior carbon package and a few other features. The MSRP kind of goes about to 101, 102. But if you get a 24 opposed to a 25, you change in horsepower, you're losing horsepower. The suspensions change, the interior is a little bit more quiet, and it's actually a little bit more of an easy daily driven vehicle. So that's what I'm getting at. Some of the changes can be significant, just like we're getting a 2025 Infiniti QX60. 26, they're getting some updates. It's not confirmed yet if they're getting the same screen size as the QX80, but the front bumper, the rear bumper, and the lights are going to be changed a little bit. Hello, how are you? M2 2019 is also nicer. The new M2s, I'm kind of mixed feelings with it, because it's smaller in the sense of the way it looks, and it's all boxy, and I'm fine with that because they're keeping the same style across all the trims. I just feel like at some point, maybe change it up just a little bit so that way we can distinguish. I mean, you know, an M2 from like a 235, a 230, or even a 240, but it's just the box look. I feel like they can make it a little bit more aggressive in some categories. The M2 is the most aggressive of it, but then the price too. I mean, you're literally at M3 money, and once you start specking it up. So at that point, it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to continue to spend that kind of money and you're getting a less variant, or do you want to go up to the next one? I'd user on this. There we go. Sorry about that. But ultimately, with BMW, Mercedes, Audi, you really can't go wrong with performance. And if you go Audi, you have the. Sorry, just trying to catch up on some of this stuff. With Audi, you have the Quattro system, which is an awesome all-wheel drive system. It's just heavy. That's the only problem with them. With Mercedes, they're going a lot more with technology, but they are starting to add a lot more V8s in for the EU regulations. I think it was 2035 is where everything needs to more or less go EVs or more eco-friendly, whatnot. Mercedes announced that they are going to scale more V8 vehicles, so we still have those coming in through the pipeline. So I'm happy about that. My grandfather has a BMW 1989 V8. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, my son Isa, he likes Mercedes and BMW. He likes some of their older variants. We were talking about a few of them the other day, but my concern, once you're starting to get some of the older ones, you have to be careful because obviously head gasket problems. You don't want to do like an M6, especially like people know whenever you mash the gas and you see the smoke coming out from the exhaust. Well, you know what's happening with that vehicle. And unfortunately, some of them, I like the styling of like a 2001, 2002 of the M3. I think the styling looks really aggressive for the year, but then the engine isn't necessarily as bulletproof as it could be. He told me he wants to get a 2006 M5 or 2010. Yeah, so there you go. He's looking around, but at this point, I don't think he's going to get anything because I'm letting him take one of my vehicles. So I think he's in better shoes in that perspective because the car is fully serviced. He doesn't have to worry about fixing anything. I just redid the suspension and we did the brakes. I did the brakes myself and new tires on the vehicle. So he's all well with that one. Mercedes-Benz 2012 CDI. I mean, no, that's what your grandfather has? No, you said 1989, sorry. But yeah, so going back to some other auto news, I have some other reports here. I put a whole bunch of things down because there's a lot going on in the past few weeks that is changing a little bit of the auto industry, the technology also. So the safety technology, we all know, is getting a lot more advanced, but the augmented reality dashboards is kind of the new thing for technology, which car companies are doing. I mean, my mother. Oh, okay, that's awesome. So I don't know if anyone's viewed these things before, but a lot of the new vehicles are doing it with navigation, where the navigation kind of comes out of the screen a little bit. It's more like 3D. So now they're doing this with the actual dashboard. So I think the technology is going really far. They're also expanding the hands-free driving capabilities. They're going to enhance that a little bit more with connectivity. In doing this, hopefully you won't have to kind of hold your hand or your fingers on the steering wheel just a little bit, because as you've seen in some of my reels or shorts that I post, you typically only get about 0.2 to 0.3 miles. The best systems for these adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and steering assist, and basically where the car is more or less driving for you, but it's not really autonomous like Tesla, but it's pretty decent for not being a Tesla product. The best ones that I have seen actually is Hyundai and Genesis. It was Mercedes going into AMGs, usually more into the $100,000+ cars. But I've been doing some of the Genesis and they're literally going like 5-10 minutes. I'm not touching the steering wheel at all. And I'm going light to light. And I start looking, I'm like, man, I can't record this because I got to speed it up. No one's going to watch a 5-minute reels. Do you know Polo? Yes, I do. I do know Polo. I don't know him personally. And with this technology, it's only going to get better. So whenever you're thinking about getting anything to these levels. I mean, it's not to the point of Tesla, but I'm liking what we're getting. Yeah, the Polos, they're awesome from Volkswagen. My dad got a GV80 recently. Yeah, the GV80, I like the coupe. You get over 400 horsepower if you get the E Supercharge, which I have a review on that one. I did it when it first came out. The one we just posted didn't have it, so I was kind of happy to see that it didn't. But then the GV80 non-coupe didn't have the 3.5T or twin turbo V6, which that is usually the variant I tell people to go with Genesis. Now, the only concerns or problems that I have really with Genesis, Hyundai, Kia is the seat itself. If you have any type of herniations or you have problems with your back, or maybe you have a torn meniscus, you're going to feel it on longer drives. They do have the Ergo Motion, which is kind of like a massage seat, but it doesn't really, just the way the seat is, for some reason, I've talked to a lot of different people and I have some little hiccups myself, and it hurts. Palisade has massage. Yes, they do for the driver's seat. Passenger one. The 26, I haven't reviewed it yet, so I'm hoping that they have it. I've been getting ready to go over back to Hyundai and Genesis to check out some things, because the G70 for Genesis, it may be on the chop block because Genesis is looking to just have larger vehicles, meaning the G80 and G90, which kind of would suck. My aunt had one like the 2012 one, then I broke down on the road, so don't like Polo. Yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily the most reliable vehicles. When is your Maserati coming? It's going to be coming Saturday next week. I'm ready to see it. I actually stated at the beginning, we posted some pictures. I went to the dealership to see some of my team. One of our team members had to do some blockage removal through his for his heart. So I wanted to make sure everything was okay. God bless, he's fine. And I had to meet another team member there. So we did that and we checked it out. The color is gray. I don't know the actual name of it because I didn't bring the sticker price home. The Kia. Tell me about it. So the MC20, like I was stating at the beginning, we blacked out the whole rear, so it kind of ties in with the carbon fiber spoiler, and tinted out the windows. We did the full PPF. The interior is a two-tone, so it's red and black. You can check out, I did a few pictures of it today. It's on Facebook. The Kia is the engine V8. You got any pics? Yes, on Facebook. We threw some pictures today. I'm going to throw some more on the YouTube community tab so people can see it also. The QX60 that we purchased, I have some pictures that the sales team took. I didn't actually take any myself, and I just picked up a loaner really quick because I had to go back and forth. It's my first time watching your videos. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you stopping in. Did you custom order it? Yeah, so the MC20, we did do some custom work with it. And the good thing is, where I work with the team, they actually gave me a lot of those things discounted or some of them free. So the whole rear is smoked out. We have the Maserati badging on the rear, which is a upgrade because on the Cello, they don't put it. It's actually just base because of the way the convertible top goes inside. And does it have heads-up display? I didn't start the vehicle today. I went in. Today was the first time I actually opened the doors to see it. I'm surprised you didn't get a 911. I was going to, we were shopping between that and a Lamborghini, and when I went into Maserati just by mistake because I hit a pothole, I had to fix the tire and then do the suspension. My Joe that had the surgery because he has some blockage for his heart today or yesterday, he was the one that said, you know what, I can get you a deal on an MC20 Cello. And I said, okay, what kind of deal? And he gave it to me, so that's why we went that way. Hope everyone likes your videos. Thank you. The 911 is a good sports car. It's the best. He would look hot in a... Oh, thank you. I like the 911. We've done the turbo. It's on the channel, or the Turbo S. Awesome vehicle. I thought about doing maybe like a GT2 or GT3, but the price is kind of crazy, and they're adding addendums on the darn things. So what that means is whatever the MSRP is, they're typically adding $20,000, $50,000 over that. And even if it appreciates, it's going to take a while. Whereas with this one, I even talked to my team. I said, listen, what if I wanted to sell it before I took it off the lot? They said you could probably make about 30 grand right now. So that was the type of deal we got. what's your next, what's you guys' next car? So we just got 2 cars. We're not planning on getting anything for the rest of this year. We're going to see how the QX60 comes out because we did a chrome delete, 22-inch wheels. We did the powder coat for the brake calipers, full tint. It has the light package, so the emblems in the front light up, and blacked out badges, which I have on order. Hopefully, God willing, they'll be here Monday because we're trying to finish that up by Tuesday. What cars do you have in your car dealership? So I'm not a dealership. These are just owning cars. I just review vehicles for a living. Why Infinity? So the Infinity bought back our 23 model, which I have a video coming next week. It's going to be, I think the thumbnail says it's a lemon. So I explain everything there. I'm not going to spoil it too much. So that way, I think it's going to be Saturday next week that I release it. I have it scheduled. The Range Rover, the wife wasn't really so excited about the Range Rover, so that's why we didn't go that way. The interior, it's nice, it's soft, and you could get the BMW engine. It's just the technology, it lags a little bit. I wasn't so happy with that. And what about the VW Golf MK1? I mean, when you're talking about some really nice vehicles, but vehicles that are not necessarily bulletproof in longevity, typically you'll have some little hiccups here and there with them. The Mark 1 was a great variant, but in the same category, like, that's why I kind of like the newer vehicles. The problem with the newer vehicles is kind of like going into a TV screen. So you're going to be replacing it a little bit more frequently than before because the engine's the way they are. What's the worst car you've ever reviewed? The worst car I've ever reviewed? The Mirage, Mitsubishi. When I reviewed it, for the price of what you get, if you're not taking it on the interstate, it's a great vehicle, consumes hardly nothing in fuel, but it's just so damn slow. The interior, I mean, at the time I reviewed it was maybe a couple years back, and I think it was a special edition too. So it was like $12,000 or $9,000, something like that. You can't get a vehicle that inexpensive nowadays. So when you're thinking like, what's the worst vehicle? Obviously, it's not like the best, but at that price, I mean, that's a huge deal for somebody that can't afford something nowadays. Some cars have cell phones. Yes, they do. Would you ever get a Urus? So that's what we actually talked about it for a lot of live streams. We looked at a Urus in Orlando. We turned it down, and that's when we ended up getting the MC20. I like the Urus. They are starting, and I mean, we talked about it, I think, a few live streams about it, where you can get some pretty decent deals, but then the motor or the twin turbos, if anything like that goes out, it's a lot of money to fix it. What's the cheapest you get a Urus? Right now, I believe the cheapest that I saw recently was about a $150-ish for about a 2019 variant. It's going to be higher miles. But that being said, you have to take in consideration if the engine blows, it's about 70 grand. The twin turbos blows, it's about 50 to 60 grand. It's a lot of money for that type of vehicle. Let me get this news up. And then we also have the Discord. I haven't been doing a lot with the Discord because we have a lot going on, but I do keep it live. So anybody that wants to post any pictures or anything, you can do so through the Discord. Do you know the Cayenne GTS, SQ8, Cayenne, Turbo, Urus? They have the same engine. So with Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, they're all, can you spell my name? They're all integrating a lot of the similarities to things. And one good thing about that is when you're looking at something like an SQ8 or an RSQ8, you're literally getting everything half off from a Urus or a Bentley. And Bentleys themselves, actually I saw one today, it was like under, this is a 22 model, I believe it was under like 150s or so. No, 170s. It was about 170s. The Bentleys, for some reason, lose a lot. Did you consider the Macan GTS? I actually did when they first came out, and we have a few reviews on them. I like the vehicle. It's just a little bit smaller, and right now we just, because of the buyback, I just wanted to shuffle and get a vehicle in its place, so that way we can kind of regroup to see what we need. Honda or Mazda? That's a tough one. Mazda is more soft in the interior. Honda, they're great vehicles. I like the luxury you're getting with Mazda, and Mazda also teams up with Toyota, especially with the CX-50, the hybrid. You're getting the powertrain. The only thing you're getting is the guts of the Mazda. The life is from Toyota. So that's a tough one. I like the quality of both. I like Honda. I would personally buy both of them, just depending on which variant you're going for. I found a Bentley 2019 74 grand. That's a good deal. It is, but services is going to still be a Bentley money. I love them. How tall are you? I'm 6'3". Do you know the new Op Renault 12F? Maserati GT Trofeo 75th anniversary. Yes, awesome. Actually, when I was at the dealer just a few hours ago, they have a Levante Trofeo. It's a 2019. They're selling for 59,000, and that's literally the same thing as a California. Thoughts? Awesome vehicle. With Maserati, the service is a little interesting the way they do things. Typically, it's like 1 or 2 services for the GT. The Trofeo is an awesome vehicle to go with because you're getting the top of the line when you go that route. I would recommend it. You're going to enjoy it. And the services, I believe they're about $2,200 a year, and then maybe $3,500 to $4,500 on the second year. Lexus or Acura. I like Acura a little bit better because Lexus, the way they're going, the direction with all the plastic interior, I'm not a huge fan of that. Acura is starting to listen to us reviewers, like adding the touchscreen on the MDX. They have the Type S, which I feel it gives you a touch of the performance. It would be nice if they gave more. I do like Lexus. The new Lexus variants, they're doing a lot of updates, especially with the ES. It's going to be all new. I'm a little skeptical to see how everything comes out, though. Oh, you can fit into a Macan. Yeah, no, I fit fine into them. Macan is an awesome vehicle. My brother had one. He had the S. I do like the GTS. I have a review quite recently, maybe a few months back. This one was like decked out with features. Just where it's a little bit smaller, I kind of like a little bit bigger of an SUV. So I like the X5, the size of like an X5. I could do an X4, but then I'm basically at a Macan. And the difference, obviously, with the X4, if you do in competition, you're going to get a huge savings, but then they're also discontinuing that vehicle. It's at the Bentley dealer in Atlas. Thank you. You're welcome. Have you checked out the Alfa Romeo stuff? So we went to Alfa Romeo. We have a team in Lakeland, and they're unfortunately not going to stick with selling that. So that's how we ended up getting a 4th Audi team member. Alfa Romeo, my father actually had one, and awesome vehicles. I like, obviously you guys know I like Italian vehicles. There's some things like the infotainment screen I think sucks, but overall performance, bang for your buck, and service is also cheaper than Maserati. So I think it's a great vehicle. You get 40 or 50,000 miles. It's a steal of a vehicle for the performance that you get. Do you guys sell BMWs? I don't sell any vehicles, but I can link you up with different teammates or team members because I work with pretty much every auto dealer. I feel like the GTS is the sweet spot for Porsche. It kind of is. You get a lot of value, and one thing that I have been seeing a little bit less, which I'm happy about, is people saying, oh, the price. The price is going up on every single vehicle, so I try not to really talk too much about, oh, the price of this, the price of that, but I do like to compare it against other variants. So if you're going to go to a GTS, the price of that can be a lot cheaper going into Audi, and you can get potentially more performance in the same thing. What's your favorite color for Urus? And the same thing if you're looking at a Urus is where I was going with that. I saw there was a gray one. I can't remember the name. It's about $16,000, maybe $200 of a price of an upgrade, but it looks really sweet because it's kind of like a drip look. So it's not like a bright gray. It's kind of more dark. I think it looks really nice on it, especially when you get like gloss black and you do the black exhaust tips and you just kind of fix it up. If you go Performante, you also get the carbon fiber hood. It just looks pretty sick. Are they adding tariffs costs at any dealerships in your area yet? So no one's really, the only thing that they have done is they've increased some of the pricing in vehicles itself. but no one's really like, talking about that too much. And what I have been seeing, because the market this month is already kind of tanked at a lot of dealerships, as an example, Maserati told me yesterday or 2 days ago when I talked to him that in the whole United States, there's 100 dealerships. They've only sold 10 vehicles in the whole US this month. So that tells you what the sales are like for them. Now, for Maserati, obviously, they're down like 50 some percent in sales, but they're also scaling back with inventory. And that's also going across the board. Like I was saying earlier, 10% decline in inventory. So if the car's on the lot a while, you could possibly get a great deal. RS6 is a winner. Yes, RS6 is a winner. And I hope that they continue with the RS6. There isn't any word of a no or a yes. If I ask this question, I will subscribe to. If I ask this question, I will subscribe to your channel. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The Urus holds its value. I noticed. Oh my God, 10 cars. No, I only have. I have 4 cars. Do you like the Urus S? The Urus S, it's okay. Gotta go, Anthony. Thanks for the live chat. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. The Urus S is okay. I would recommend getting the Performante is going to hold its value a little bit better. Once you go into the S, I mean, you can pick those up a little bit more so. That's kind of where I'm going at with it. And with Lamborghini, one thing to be concerned about if you are looking into that brand, if they make a lot of it, any of its trim, then it's not going to hold its value very well. The Urus, most of the Urus, the reason why they hold their value pretty well is if you look online, you're only going to see maybe less than 500 used variants out there through like Auto Trader or whatnot. That being said, because there's not like thousands like other variants, that's why it holds its value a little bit more so. Base Urus, I mean, if you get a base Urus, I would probably spec it up with some features so that way you can get better value on resale. Cayenne GTS holds its value. Yes, it does hold its value pretty good. Which car is the fastest in America? I am not in America. I mean, it depends because literally like every single vehicle that comes out, there's always going to be something that's faster. His mom's, what is that? So going back to the question of which is the fastest, if it's American vehicles, I mean, the Corvette does an excellent job. The CT5V Blackwing does an excellent job. It's really tough because, like I said, not Dodge Charger. The problem with the Charger and Challengers is once you get to like Hellcat or SRTs, they don't stay planted. So you have a ton of power and it just can't stay down on the ground, on the pavement. When you have that, it basically kind of screws you up with a 0 to 60. So on the Urus, what features is important? You want to do stitching, like the badging on the headrest. You want that stitched. You want the massage seats. When you're looking at the picture, you'll see it. There's like a little square emblem. If it doesn't have anything in that emblem, that means it doesn't have massage seats. You want the heads-up display. You want the 360 camera, and the blacked out exhaust, because you can get some with chrome tip exhaust. It's very base. You don't want to do a white or black because those are free colors typically. Blue one, that's going to be more expensive color. Green one, I don't think I've seen a green one. Do you recommend buying one from Carport? So when you're buying it from there, you're obviously not worrying in the sense of it's an accident vehicle. So you could potentially have a lot of things that you have to fix. If you are going to go that route because it's a salvage yard, I would recommend that you get it as cheap as possible, because if you have to fix anything on those cars, it costs a ton because some are in good condition. But then they also have on the Carfax that it was an accident and it's not going to be worth nothing. And in some states, or so if it's stolen, that's basically a salvage title. That's why they're selling it. Some states don't allow it. Texas allows it. Florida allows it. But some states you can't get them at all. What about bidding on one? I did do some bidding on a Maserati Levante Trofeo a few years back from Carport, and unfortunately, I lost because it started going too high. And the reason why I didn't keep betting is it went past 60 grand, and the fixing of it wasn't just airbags. They also had to fix the seats. The seats itself were over like $7,000 at that time. So I said, you know what? If I keep adding up all this, I got to put a bumper, got to get a windshield. The windshield was on back order for 6 months. You can't drive it with a broken windshield. I basically decided I'm not going that route. Can you help me find a Urus? Yeah, like I told you, just you can go to the website, HawkeyeRides.com. I have a link there. When you click on it, it will directly send text messages to my phone, and I can link you up with anybody or help you out with anything. I thought Hellcat and Dodge Charger are the fastest in America. I mean, they're fast vehicles. It's just, like I said, there's so much power, it doesn't stay planted. Have you ever owned a BMW? No. My brother owns a BMW X5 M50. He bought it right before the M60i came out. I was going to buy a X5M competition, but because of where we just bought the MC20 Cello, I said, we've already spent a lot of money because we're getting the new QX60 as well. So that's why we've held off. I wanted to get an M4 competition and the X5M competition. I think those were the sweet spot vehicles. They have increased the price a little bit, but they give you a lot of value, both two of the vehicles. The X5M competition, I feel, has increased a little bit too much, but it's still an awesome variant. Do you recommend Carvana? Carvana isn't bad, but I would shop like Facebook Marketplace first, because I've seen a lot of success, and a lot of different people I deal with have been saying that that's a good area to look into. We're going to finish up for the live stream this week. It was great. I'm happy everybody showed up. And don't forget that we have the subscriptions where we do different videos and whatnot. We're going to try to start doing some more blooper videos. We also have videos, more shorts we've been adding to the channel. I recommend his mom. Oh. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next live stream, and I'll be posting some more about the MC20, so that way everybody will be up to par. You guys have an excellent weekend, and I will see you next week.